Tickey Creek this round. Well, we headed out to Lake Lavon, took the kayak out, and were able to do some fishing over there by Tickey Creek. And that first video footage at the beginning, you can see how smooth it is. Very little wind. Went with a jig and a slab setup. Tandem rig with the slab on the bottom. Chartreuse, lighter weight of the choices when it came to the slab, and then the crappie jig was the green and chartreuse one that we were using previously over there by the other dam by Livonia. So looks like they still like it. Unfortunately, we were looking for some keepers. In this case, we didn't get too many. They were mainly these smaller size ones, but the action was really good. You can see that they're striking readily as we're trolling, and we worked both points that you'll see over there at Tickey Creek, and got hits in between both of them as well as just off both points. This one's going to be a little bit longer video because there's a just want to give you the gist of that they're biting, and there's also a point where maybe because we're in a kayak and we're not having a loud motor or whatnot, but we had them boiling all around us, and so you'll see some footage of some of the boils hitting, or not hitting, but the white bass going for some little shad and whatnot that are in the shallows. And so that'll be coming up here a little bit further in the video. But here they're mainly hitting the crappie jig. We are getting a few on the slab, but most of our strikes were on the crappie jig. And I guess the biggest one went maybe 8 inches, 9 inches. Other than that, the rest were undersized ones, and it was a mix of white bass as well as some largemouth bass, some little guys. And so I also noticed that they did want a fairly good retrieve or a fairly good trolling speed when we were hitting or trolling. And here we're getting a double here, and you can see some boils underneath. That's the schools that are hitting all just following them as we're bringing in the lures. So there's another one where we've got one, and there's another 2 or 3 just below it, just popping away at them. Then here we're starting to see some boils around us. And then this one, we're starting to sight cast to the boils and starting to get hits as we're bringing them in, with most of them getting in close up as we're bringing them in. And over here to the upper right, you'll see a boil, and after a while there'll be more boils around us. Doesn't do justice as to the number of schools that were around us, but if we turned around as well as looked forward, they were all over us. And the good thing is we could paddle just a little bit or just drift, and we didn't put the school down, and we were able to hang out there for a good 30-40 minutes just playing around, catching these guys, releasing them since we weren't getting any keepers. But it was pretty cool being able to sight cast to these rising fish as they're boiling on top, chasing the shad and whatnot. Here's a good view of some of the boils hitting around us. Not too far from shore either. And what was cool was it was a fairly calm day. It did pick up as we were leaving by the boat ramp, but for the most part there was very little wind. Here we're just gonna see if we can sight cast to some more of the rising fish. Over here to our right, you can see a bunch of them just popping on the surface, and they're hitting these little shad. We can definitely see the shad jumping up and down and running away as well as getting hit. But still pretty fun. So they weren't keepers, but the action was really good. They kept us busy and made us stay a little bit longer than we should maybe. Oh well, that's part of it. Anyways, we started shifting over to trolling again. But here's a case where there's a bunch of them just chasing a hooked fish. There's a double. And then here we go. We're just going to start doing some more trolling. There's another hit there. There's another one. And like I said, they pretty much were hitting on the crappie jig, but at some point they were hitting both. But we did try just the straight crappie jigs on a tandem rig, no slab, and found that we weren't getting near as many hits. So we stuck with the slab and crappie jig setup. And here we're just working our way back to the boat ramp, and as we're working our way back there, we're getting some hits. And like we said, definitely stayed a little bit longer than we should, but or that we planned on. But that said, that's part of it, isn't it? All right, here's another double, and then almost to the boat ramp, and we get another hit. So of course we got to bring that one in, and then this should be our last one for this trip. There it is, the little guy. All right, till next time, we'll catch y'all later, and good luck and good fishing.